And Mike, the live stream will let us know if people are tuning in that way. Okay.
Do I see Tom from Chatham here?
Yeah, hi, Mike. Sorry.
How are you? No, that's okay.
Good, good.
Why don't we do a brief recap? Do we know if the live stream is on now? Any idea of anyone out there? Great. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Tucker with Columbia Economic Development, joined by Jeff Hunt with the Columbia County Chamber of Commerce, welcoming you to a Columbia Comeback meeting. We were hoping to focus on reopening phase 4 today with arts and education and recreation. At this point, the state has only posted the guidelines for the higher education organization. And as you know, we have one higher education organization in the county, and I know the college is actively reviewing these as well as reviewing instruction and guidance from the State University of New York. In addition, we continue to get questions about each of the phases. I think, we seem to be dwindling in attendance, but Jeff and I think that that is a good thing. When Board of Supervisors Chair Matt Morrell formed Columbia Comeback and asked us to co-chair it, we were pre-phase 1. And I think over the 8 weeks that we've been doing this, many people have been able to, find the directions and guidance to begin to do this on their own. As we've talked about, the state requirement is that you affirm and acknowledge their guidelines, and you develop your own safety plan. I think after we explained those basic criteria that apply to all phases, that it was kind of sunk in. So you're in phase 4, you probably are way ahead of that because you've realized from the beginning that ultimately you would be required to do both of those things. In addition, I think we were a little late last time, Jeff, on the phase 3, because if you think about it, many restaurants and food service facilities opened under essential business takeout prior to phase 1. And in phase 2, a week or so before phase 3 opened, maybe 10 days, the governor loosened up the restrictions on outside dining. So in many instances, the phase 3 industries were already well on their way to opening with indoor dining as a final complement to takeout and outdoor dining. So we've had a lot of nuances. I think the governor's made clear the enforcement. I think absent large-scale groups of people without masks, I'm hoping that I'm hearing anecdotally from some businesses that businesses are starting to understand their collective requirements and are acting responsibly. But I'm sure we'll always hear of someone who either is out there trying to game the system or come up with a way around what they think are the rules. I think, to me, I'm inherently non-compliant when I think things are, out of sync. But here it's not about the rules. It's about doing what each of us knows is important to protect ourselves, our family, and others. So I guess Jeff, if you have some things to add, I know you mentioned a few things as we were getting started before we went live. We could probably repeat those and then see if our guests or those who are listening on the live stream can email in questions to us.
Yes, thanks, Mike. I was just mentioning that a couple of the federal programs will be, the application periods will be coming to a close from what I understand. So I encourage you, if you haven't taken part in the emergency disaster loan program through the SBA or through the PPP program, You make those applications now. Currently, 501c6s, like organizations like the Chamber of Commerce, we're organized as a membership organization, so we were left out of the PPP program. So we had to look at other assistance to keep our doors open. Thanks to the CEDC's Rapid Recovery Loan Program, we were able to qualify for that. But we encourage you, if you're a member of a 501c6 or 501c3 or member of a board, that you encourage the staff to participate in those programs before they close. Most of those dollars are able to be written off if you use them directly for the express purposes of keeping your payroll or paying some of the necessary business costs. We do have, I think, some programming on both our site and CED's website related to PPP repayment program and how the best practices in spending those dollars. If not, we will certainly share them with the ColumbiaComeback.com page. Again, if you have any specific questions, you can go in the chat and we will read them off. We are currently in phase 3 in Columbia County, looking forward to going in phase 4. And as soon as the governor's office releases the other guidelines for recreation and for extended hospitality and capacity building for restaurants, we will post those guidelines as soon as we're able to. But right now, we're only able to access higher education. If you have any specific questions about outdoor dining, you can also direct those to us as well. We have posted on the Columbia Comeback those additional guidelines related to outdoor dining. Any expansion of your footprint, if you have a liquor license, you need to make that application to the State Liquor Control Commission. If you're looking to do additional outdoor seating. So I wanted to raise that point because we've had some issues in the past related to that. But at this time, Mike, if you think we can go right into questions.
Yes. Are there any questions today? Thank you, Jeff. We will be sending out a e-blast as well as soon as we get the phase 4 guidance. We've had inquiries, from I had one from the group that does the tractor pulls today again, and I think the difficulty is going to be the larger the event, the more difficult it's going to be to stage. We have looked at when you go to a state park now. I was at Thatcher Park over the weekend, and you can every other parking space has a cone in it so that you can keep distance as you get out of the car with or without a mask. And I think when you cut your parking at some of these large venues, it's going to make it very difficult. As Jeff said, the PPP money applications stop a week from tomorrow. We believe the emergency disaster loan funds have been reopened. They were restricted only to agribusiness for a while, and they're reopened to everyone, including not-for-profits. We still have our rapid recovery $15,000 loans available for businesses and groups that are willing to personally guarantee it with a 625 credit score. And in addition, there are a lot of other things going on. There's the Hudson Bond Program where people can make a donation, get a 50% tax deduction and a 50% gift certificate to shop at Hudson Merchants. Over $25,000 has been raised through that program. The other half of the donation is going to be put in a fund to where the Hudson Business Coalition will distribute that on a criteria as grants after sufficient funds are aggregated. We've been working with a group in Hudson that is moving forward with the pilot program next weekend to close portions of Warren Street. Jeff, you and the county tourism department have been working on something, and since that's not a CEDC program, and why don't you give an update on the Shop Local program?
Yes, the Chamber and Tourism for several months have been working to keep an updated list of all open businesses in Columbia County. We are eyeing the idea is to shop local. Your dollars turn over 6 times if you shop locally, as opposed to if you go to another county, those dollars really come back to your home county. So we encourage all businesses and all residents to shop locally here. It goes to support our sales taxes, which also then goes to support our rescue and fire squads and all of the services that are provided through the county. We have 50 additional yard signs. If you like a yard sign or a sign to display in your window, please email us at ColumbiaChamber-NY.com or ColumbiaTourism.com to ask for signs. And we're currently, radio spots are starting to encourage individuals to shop locally. At this particular time, it's very critical for us to focus on helping our businesses within our community, because that goes in turn to support our local governments, both state and local governments as well. Our community college, all of the institutions that we require and need on a daily basis require those dollars. So if you can do it, please try to shop locally as much as possible. Again, the city of Hudson is working on a site, and I've seen some commercials about closing down Warren Streets to allow for more pedestrian traffic, to allow for more outside seating for our local restaurants. So if you're able to participate, if you are willing, if you are following CDC guidelines, of course, if you're wearing facial covering and staying socially distanced, our restaurants are beginning to open in full force, and we encourage you to support them, not only in Hudson, but in Chatham and Hillsdale and all across our county. Those restaurants need your support, and our local businesses need your support at this time.
And I think it's important to note that we have asked the consultants that are working with the city of Hudson to put together some generic guidelines that could be explored in the other villages and town centers, as you mentioned, Chatham, Volusia, Copiague, Hillsdale, et cetera. And, they're on smaller scales. Obviously, if you have a state highway running through your main street, it's a little more difficult, but in Saratoga, where that's the case, they're using side streets. They're using municipal parking lots to provide open seating for almost like a food court. You go to your favorite restaurant and do takeout and go to a big open parking area that, if there's limitations on closing the street or limitations on the size of outdoor seating availability at a particular location. So thinking out of the box, trying to come up with ways to initiate these efforts. And again, without having the posted guidelines for arts and education, it's going to be difficult. But I can tell you there's some arts that we have had an initial discussion with some arts groups, and anyone who hasn't been in on those discussions, if you're listening, please call me on how we can utilize programming that you would otherwise be doing in large public gatherings, or otherwise through digital content that can be shared with the K through 12 school system. Also could be shared online with your patrons or your visitors as well. I think the opportunity to utilize technology in these times to get people more comfortable and remind them that you're out there, and as they get more comfortable, have them revisit. I know there's been significant time invested in looking at how to engage people to take that stay vacation. I've heard some ads for individual hotel properties in the region to come to the Comfort Inn on Wolf Road in Albany and spend a night away from home. Well, certainly coming to Columbia County would be a lot more enjoyable. No disrespect to the merchants on Wolf Road, but if you're looking for a break, it would be so much better to come down here for a day or for an overnight. And I think as each of us gets our own comfort level back to some level of normalcy, we will see that surge in activity. If there are no further questions, we will again send out an e-blast and include all of the information as soon as it's posted on phase 4. Continue to send your questions to info@columbiacomeback.com. Next week we will have a meeting of the full committee, and we will continue to work closely with the Board of Supervisors, particularly Matt Morrell, the chair, who represents the county on the regional control room calls every day. And fortunately, I don't know what the last 24 hours were, but 48 hours ago, there were no deaths in the region. And the testing seems to be showing statewide only a 1% contact rate of the virus. And that's significant as you get more and more tests, because you're looking at a wider population. At one point, Columbia County was over 11% when this first started. Now, that was because the testing was limited only to people who were, already had serious evidence of the symptoms. But as the testing gets more widespread, those percentages are going down. And again, I hope that, unlike some of the relapses that people saw in states like Florida and Arizona after Memorial Day weekend, or after some of the protests where people were not wearing the masks, I think it's clear that we have to protect against a relapse and a second wave. But Jeff, anything from your end? Otherwise, thank you everyone for joining us.
Yeah, I want to thank the board chair, Matt Morrell, for pulling this committee together. And I just want everyone to know that we're going to come out on the other side of this stronger and a lot more knowledgeable of pandemics, if you will. So keep wearing your masks, socially distance, and stay safe.
And this is the first time I've been able to do this from our office. So we have a limited staff, only half of the people at any one time, but it's great to start to get back some normalcy. Thank you all.
Good to see you, Mike. Take care, everyone.
And thank you, Oswaldo, from Columbia County Technical Group. How do I turn this off, Jeff?